Welcome to GlowJob, the beauty podcast that's more than skin deep. We're the only podcast to make you hotter and smarter. I don't want to start on a bad note, but there have been more beauty closures recently.
I know. And the one that was in the headlines earlier today was Good Clean Goop by Gwyneth Paltrow.
And we talked about this on an earlier episode. So for those who don't know, Good Clean Goop was Gwyneth Paltrow's more affordable line within her beauty offering. And they quietly discontinued today. They launched 2 years ago in Target and in Amazon.
You know, when I always thought of this brand, it didn't really seem very on brand for Gwyneth, if that makes sense. Like if you go to her Goop website or even look at like the name brand, like the original Goop Beauty, the one that's completely separate from Good Clean Goop, like all of those were extremely luxury products. And I don't know, to me, this one just never really made sense.
It never really fitted with her brand, right? I mean, this is the woman that uses a Augustinus Bader sunscreen that retails for $140 as if it's like $20. And like in a recent shopping pic, she also included this necklace by Foundry that's like $9,600. She is not an affordable girl.
Yeah, I always remember her on like the Goop website for selling that like $5,000 golden dildo like back in the day. But like that's why this didn't make sense. So when this brand first launched, I almost thought like, is this the mother-daughter version of what she wanted her products to be? Because if you looked at the branding, it definitely did skew a lot younger, right? Like, and especially they had like more acne-safe products. So that's kind of what I was thinking. But it kind of makes sense that it's not doing well, because I think a lot of brands, like especially when it's a founder-led brand or like a celebrity-led brand, it's got to read authentic.
Exactly. And I do not think products that all were under $40 feels authentic to Gwyneth Paltrow. It's just not her brand.
It really isn't. Hers is very much like kind of that like unattainable luxury vibe, you know?
For sure. So their prestige offering, Goop Beauty, which launched in Ulta this August and launched in Sephora almost 5 years ago, that has done well. And if anything, that is actually the key moneymaker within the Goop brand.
Yeah, and that one did make more sense for her, right? Like the price point, like she was interviewed saying that beauty was one of her most profitable venture arms. I always thought it was going to be Goop Kitchen, but I guess it's Goop Beauty.
One day when Goop Kitchen expands globally, Will.
It's so good.
I know, I love it.
And another closure from another celebrity is Barrymore and Flower Beauty.
Flower Beauty has shut down after 13 years of operation. That's pretty remarkable. They launched in 2012.
I had no idea. I mean, personally, I've never tried anything from the line. I think they sold at like Sephora, and it was, again, a super, super affordable price point. But, to be honest, I've never tried anything from that brand. I had definitely seen them around Ulta, specifically in like the more affordable aisles that kind of like they were playing in a drugstore kind of pricing, if I remember correctly. But 13 years is super impressive. That's a long time.
So this brand was co-founded by the beauty incubator Mesa. And so they had some, power behind them as they were starting up. But one thing to note, their last social media post on Instagram was back in December of 2024. That was a while ago.
So 2024, and they're just now announcing it? It's been like, 10 months?
Yes.
Okay.
Slow roll. If you've been following us here on GlowJob, you know that we've been tracking all the closures that have happened this year. And Flower and Good Clean Goop, these are not the only two. Earlier, we've seen Ami Coley shut down, Euphoria, and Ren Skincare.
And I think a lot has to say with like the whole celebrity founder thing, because, Barrymore is booked and busy. She's got her own talk show, and kind of with her shuttering Flower, it kind of reminded me of Addison Rae closing down Item Beauty. Not too sure when that one closed down. Could have been like last year or the year before, but it kind of proves that like when celebrities are super busy, you kind of can't do both.
I think it's not just about being busy, because I think what celebrities also are noticing is that, they look at beauty as a category that's booming and that's huge. And they're like, I want a piece of that pie. Then they enter the market and they realize how competitive it is. And sometimes brand power alone is not enough to sell products. So I bet you all these lines, clearly their sales were not up to par. And plus, one more thing, J.Lo Beauty. Remember that?
Or the Sofia Vergara Beauty, right?
Yes.
Like, what happened to that one?
Poof, bye-bye, gone. On a more positive front, Hailey Bieber's Rhode surpassed $10 million in sales at Sephora within the United States in the first 2 days of launching.
That did not surprise me one bit. But Rhode made up almost 40% of sales at Sephora on its very first day, which was September 4th, at the retailer's nearly 2,000 stores and across websites. And I think it was US and Canada. I don't know. Were you shocked by this?
Oh, I'm definitely not shocked. I think the fact that they did 200 million in sales D2C last year is mind-boggling enough that we all kind of knew it was going to be a heavy hitter when it hit Sephora.
The benefit of Sephora is that they have an excellent return policy. And I think for a lot of people, when it's a new brand on the market and you have to go direct D2C, they may not want to play around with the shipping fees and then that return policy. So I think, a lot of first-time buyers were rushing to try Rhode for the first time. It got me. I bought 2 blushes.
Oh yeah, I know.
And in other news, that's kind of beauty on the upswing, is that Osea received growth investment from General Atlantic.
So Osea has been around for 30 years, which is also pretty remarkable within the beauty space. But it is a mother-daughter brand. It was founded by Jennifer Palmer, who is an esthetician, and her daughter, Melissa, is the CEO and runs the brand with her. Osea remained self-funded up until 2020. Again, that I feel like is rare this day and age, especially within beauty. They received investment from Kavu Consumer Partners, a growth equity fund, back in 2020. So Kavu's also behind Vital Proteins, Topicals, Oatly, and Necessaire.
So on brand, wouldn't you say?
Oh my God, so on brand. It's a smart investment for them. So following the close of this transaction with General Atlantic, Kavu is going to fully exit out of their investment.
And so it's so funny because I was actually on the website kind of digging because they have this full timeline. They actually say that Osea didn't start 30 years ago. They say it started 300 years ago. Because of the generation of women in the family, the generations and generations of women in the family that kind of inspired the line. But what I love about this mother-daughter story is that it started off so homegrown, literally in the kitchen. And Osea didn't see a ton of growth until Melissa joined in 2016. It was really Melissa that was responsible for so much growth, getting them into major retailers like Ulta. And over the past 8-9 years, the company has grown 7,600% with Melissa.
That's insane.
Yeah. In California, I feel like a lot of people are really familiar with the brand. It's kind of like an LA classic, right? Everybody knows what it is.
I think ever since they joined Sephora, I feel like they've really become more of a national player because they really are a California-based brand. They started in Malibu. They still have their spa here in Venice. So it's a very much a local, following. But the other thing about them that I find interesting is that they were probably one of the first to really be a clean beauty brand, quote, air quotes on clean, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think they really mean it when they say clean. I think a lot of companies, when they talk about being clean or sustainable, it's really kind of a part of their marketing and brand story rather than how they actually go about and live their lives. Because when you look at these women and how they live their lives on Instagram, they really do kind of walk the walk. Have you ever thought about how many new brands come into Sephora and which ones actually kind of make it off of that kind of, what is it, the new and trending wall?
Mm-hmm.
It's impressive.
Oh, it definitely is. And I think now with this investment from General Atlantic, which is a big private equity player, they're going to have major global expansion. And I think they're going to try to break out of just the US market.
I think that'll be really good for them. I'm excited to see what they can do next because they've always played, I feel like they're most famous for body care, right? Their body oil, their body washes. They do some skincare, but I feel like there's so much more that, they can have options to go into.
For sure. And I think one of the big proprietary ingredients that they tout is the use of seaweed in their products. Now, they say it's a proprietary blend of, seaweeds that are off the coast of California. It gives you that clean, LA, California hippie vibe. I mean, it fits the brand. The whole branding just works. A new brand on the scene. So Beauty Stat founder and Rhode formulator Ron Robinson just joined the new Gen Alpha skincare brand Yesterday.
I love this. One, in some weird way, I feel like we're kind of only a couple steps removed from Rhode anytime it's any beauty story. But, Ron Robinson is so well respected in the beauty sphere, right? He's an excellent formulator. He's done so much innovation when it comes to Beauty Stats, vitamin C. But, the fun thing about Yesterday is he's getting into that Gen Alpha game. And the brand is created by Coco Granderson and her mom, Danielle. But get this, Coco is 13 years old.
Oh my God, they just get younger and younger.
I mean, last week we had Salish Matter at 15, but oh my gosh, 13 is crazy.
13 is young.
It is so young. And they had this like wild, like super extravagant, like launch party for Yes Day as well. And looking at those pictures was so fun. A lot of it was kind of like a who's who in Hollywood, especially when you like look at the adults. I can't really speak for the kids. I'm not into like that Gen Alpha who's who just yet, but I saw a lot of familiar faces.
Unlike Salish, who has obviously got a very large social media platform, Coco doesn't have much of a social media presence. I mean, like her personal Instagram appears to be private. Of course, she runs it with her mom, Danielle, but her father, he is someone to look at. Her father is Damian Granderson, and he's actually a well-known music entertainment attorney here in Los Angeles, which explains that star-studded launch party.
Okay, that's making a lot more sense now. Because then when I was looking at him, like, why is Beyonce's mom here? Like, why is Corey Gamble at this 13-year-old's party? But no, okay. I mean, is this like a Nepo baby situation? I don't know. What would you call it?
Borderline Nepo, because it's like also, he's an entertainment attorney. He's not necessarily a celebrity. So I don't know if I would go as far to say Nepo baby, but certainly they're using the family connections to help push this line.
I got to admit, I am all for a Gen Alpha skincare line. I think it's really necessary that, children have products that are appropriate for children and they don't have to kind of learn how to peruse the aisles of a Sephora to kind of get what they need for their skin. And lastly, I know this isn't super like beauty related, but we got to talk about it. Do you remember Charlie Javice?
Girl, of course I do.
Well, she was just sentenced to 7 years for defrauding JP Morgan. Oh my God.
This is a big business headline. And at GlowJob, we're not just beauty, we're business and pop culture. And this fits all of that.
Yeah, and also we're girls. We got to talk about stories about the girls, right?
Yes. Yeah. Because Charlie is like our age. I think she was born in 92 or 93.
93.
Yeah, 93. Okay, there we go. She's in her early 30s. Charlie was the face and founder of Frank, a startup that helps students get access to financial aid. When she initially started Frank, she was touted as like an up-and-coming female entrepreneur, and she was even named in the Forbes 30 Under 30. In 2021, she sold her company Frank to JP Morgan for $175 million. And then she was named managing director overseeing student-focused products within Chase. But then in 2022, JP Morgan filed a lawsuit for fraud, claiming that Javice provided bogus evidence that her company had millions of customers when they only had about 300,000 customers. In 2023, she was arrested and charged by federal prosecutors in Manhattan of wire fraud affecting a financial institution, securities fraud, bank fraud, and conspiracy. Her actual trial happened in this year of February, and now it's closed up, and she's gotten 7 years in prison.
Honestly, that whole story of founders really inflating their customer base, whatever, that is nothing new, right? But, so many founders, like, when I was living in San Francisco, everybody, would add like a couple zeros to the amount of users in their customer base. But the key difference here is like they were dealing with real money. They were taking investments. That's 7 years. It just reminded me, first and foremost, of the Forbes 30 Under 30 curse. You're familiar with this, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, there are plenty of dudes that have like made that curse. But it really just reminds me of specifically Elizabeth Holmes and Carolyn Ellison. Because they're spending a good amount of jail time too right now, huh?
I know. It's crazy. But you know what's funny is that the Forbes 30 Under 30 thing for Charlie, I think about a year after her piece came out, they ended up doing a 30 Under 30 Hall of Shame. So like everyone that they regret having given that accolade to. And of course, she was on it.
I mean, I think it's so funny that they have that. Now, it definitely came from like people talking about the Forbes 30 Under 30 curse. But yeah, I wonder, because I know that Sam Bankman-Fried, Carolyn Ellison's,
boyfriend and partner.
Yeah, boyfriend. Yeah. I don't know what to call boyfriend, boss, co-conspirator. He's cellmates with P. Diddy, right?
Wait, what? Really?
I think I saw a headline that he was cellmate. I don't know if they're still cellmates, but I want to see who these people end up being cellmates with.
Dude, I would pay money to be a fly on the wall to hear their conversations.
They're apparently both in this like kind of special section of the prison where they have like the VIP, whatever. But, when I was kind of doing a little research for like this specific segment, I did look up how Elizabeth Holmes is doing in prison. She's
How
doing
is she?
well.
Wait, wasn't she pregnant?
I think she gave birth to the baby and she's like carrying out her sentence right now. The photo of her, she was like walking around doing laps on the prison yard, yapping it up with a friend. But two things I didn't understand about the photo, and we'll insert the photo for sure. But one, she was like using hand weights on her walk. I didn't know. I thought that like all weapons would be removed, but because a hand weight is a weapon, right? Could be.
Could be. Depends how heavy, right? If it's 2 pounds, maybe you're good.
I mean, oh my God. But you've heard of the thing like getting hit with a roll of quarters. Like that can take someone out. But the kicker, she's still so blonde.
Wait.
How?
So are you saying that maybe she's just naturally that blonde?
I mean, we have to look at the photo together now.
Yeah. Okay. I want to look at it now. You know, I love my blonde queens. I got lots of blonde girlies in my life, but I also know for a fact, all my blonde girlies, they spend good money to keep their hair blonde.
How is she staying so blonde? Like in some of the photos, she's wearing hats and some she's not. I mean, she is super, super fair skinned, but I don't know. In every single photo I see of her, she's just like working out. She's going to come out of her sentence like looking way better than what she started with.
Maybe someone sent her some purple shampoo so she could like keep it nice and shiny, you know?
Yeah. As you know, I get sucked in some really weird segments of TikTok and a few months ago, I did go down a rabbit hole of learning about prison makeup and what prisoners do to like create foundations, mascaras, eyeliners, eyeshadows. They can make anything. Like they're teaching us how to make bronzer out of like Swiss Miss hot cocoa powder, like, how to use like Skittles to kind of, turn a Skittle into eyeshadow. They get really creative.
You know what they say about necessity? It's the mother of invention. So if you've got nothing, you got to make something out of it, right?
Clearly, right?
Yeah.
But no, so, we'll see. I think, wasn't it that Charlie just got her Pilates instructor license?
Yeah. So after she got fired from JP Morgan for defrauding the company during the transaction, she had to find a new career and she became a Pilates instructor. So maybe she'll do some Pilates while she's serving her jail time.
Yeah, she can join Elizabeth Holmes. Like you got to see these photos of her working out, just like walking around with these like little hand weights everywhere. Watch, they're going to come out together with like this brand new like at home workout, like a Pilates and free hand weight combo.
Jane Fonda meets prison workout. Okay, guys, that's a wrap on today's Chit Chat. Be sure to stay tuned for next Monday's episode where we do our weekly beauty, business, and pop culture news roundup.
And just as a reminder, we still have our AMA link live and open. We are adding a little giveaway on top of it, so feel free to ask us anything you like to enter the giveaway.
Check out the link in the episode summary. Thanks, guys.
Bye.